Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Alright, I suppose I got this with the tail version. We should make sure everything's all working here. We should have built yesterday. Alright, oh, I know what. For this, I think we're kind of done with the full screen bug now. And I'm not really sure that I'm dealing with multiple people either. At the moment. Okay. Everything's looking okay so far. All I had to do was actually pull up the code. I got that associated as text for some reason. Well, the dot text. The markdown is what I did. To Vim. All right, so that's all stuff we're still trying to figure out. I think my use with index has just been use a standard cursor mode so far. Might have to make sure we don't do that in compatibility mode, but that's not. Cravings. I mean, craving is always on screen, so it's not like. Yeah, where it's like, gee, have I eaten this or not? I don't think that really affected anything I need to deal with, I don't think. Freeview. It needs settings. It needs a key setting. We need build system updates. And it ends up overlapping a lot with the screen edge push. So I'm kind of thinking that perhaps those things should just get merged into one sort of camera control patch. If you've got a setting for, well, basically if you've got a key set and then if you do screen edge push, STG series, STG show. So we're on that one. Okay, so I did make some other changes. Okay, so I got my constant key. Oh, makefile list is checked in. But in order to use that, you've got to do the makefile, which is technically in minor gems. Okay, some of this is kind of setting things. That's keyboard control, that's build system. Maybe if I just transpose it down, there's an option to merge. List. Delete the empty patches in this series. Book patches. Okay, so movement I've done before. Display patches modifying a file. Okay, may be useful. Reset the patch stack to an earlier state. Squash 2 or more patches into one. Yeah, files modified. Synchronize patches with a brancher series. Yeah, I wasn't really sure how to move stuff between repositories before. So it sounds like the way to merge these is to push them together, or sync float them together. And then squash them. So screen push is one of the older ones for sort of historical reasons, just because it did it early on. This is like a new feature. There could be some side effects in other patches. But until, well, yeah, once I start messing with stuff, I'm not going to be in a good position to be able to modify the patch set if something breaks. Now, what I can just do is have, this modifies the build system. So one of the things I have to work on for this, possibly before integrating, is that we have to essentially if-def it. And we have to figure out how to control the, well, it's basically operating system. Because there is no setmouse.o for Linux in MinerGems currently. So the main application is probably going to be relatively free of those types of things, which means we'd actually be looking at MinerGems in terms of examples. So I think I saw some 132 stuff. If-def 132. I guess I just have to look for if-defs, huh? Control, if-def ignore this. 132, MSC ver, C++. There's just if-def Mac, if-def Linux. Looks like, it would be if-ndef, but it's if-ndef, right? Yeah. Oh, he's got a bunch of AI stuff in here. Steamgate. Okay. So there's an include and a call. Now, the H file I actually don't think is itself an issue. Maybe. I guess the way to do that is or to test that theory is to see if this still builds. Well, it builds, but we're actually including it. So I guess make file list. See, so that's all backslashed. Make sure that's an empty line just in case. Okay, so it does not mind, as long as you don't call it, it doesn't mind that the include is there. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this, though, when we get to build system stuff. So that's going to have to be like, we're going to have to do something conditional in here, or maybe we set a variable differently that then gets included in there. Well, I guess we're not actually doing builds on Linux right now. All right, so that's part of it. There might be a way to do this, it's just not defined right now. And then if we had to publish something else, we could just hack off this free camera thing. All right, so series. So this is going to be like a sync and a squash and a rename. I was thinking about, do I want to move the old patch up or the new patch down? Because right now I can just not include it when I do exports pretty easily. So the call to set mouse is the only thing that would actually make a build problem if you just toggled it off and published that. So what does target? Do not push patches back. Target. Sync patches below target patch. So that would be auto run. Okay. No conflict. The only problem with moving it down here is I lose a whole bunch of other features when I'm testing. Okay. And Okay, so, well, so multiple patches. So you do specify a new name. Or you can specify a new name. Does order matter? And which order would it be? And they mostly just end up together. All right. So the things we needed is we need a setting file for free camera. Even though it modified that one, they composed nicely. So screen edge push speed was the setting. What do you call it? Camera key? Might be a string setting? Do I have any other? Well, if I do, they're not going to be here. What else has a key? Player search? Oh, the show is paginated here. Player track key. Get string setting. Ah, it doesn't wrap though. I actually really need to see that. Shoot. Okay, so it is a string. And then we have to convert it into a character. And then delete it. Uh, I mean, we could basically say, is there a camera key set? But this, well, actually, no, free camera means it's active. So there isn't really a feature setting. Okay. So currently active, there is that. So we're going to read a setting file, and depending on if we load something or not. If it's equal to 1. So there's two else's going on here. If it's not equal to 1, or if it's null. Oh, well. Does that give me null? Because I do want this to affect the, if you're just in screen push, I actually kind of don't like the infinite bounds. I guess that would really be when camera control is active. And if you can't set a key, then it's not going to be active. So we might be able to just do that on free camera. Actually, did I already do that? That's saying if we're in free camera mode, it's that. If we're screen pushing, it's this. And otherwise, it's that. That might already be set up. That's not valid. So that should make the default behavior as we don't do anything. And depending on our screen edge push setting, which for this setup is set to 0. We don't have a camera key yet. We pushed all the patches off. Oh. That was a later development. So whatever patch added that is going to also have to modify this, unfortunately. Which makes them dependent. That's probably interaction keys. All right. Oh, right, because it's still hard-coded as C. Uh, and, okay, screen push is off. Oh, actually, this may depend on that system. So we might just have to push the whole patch up. Because this is going to be, if it's not something we can put into a case statement. Well, switch in ASCII. Yeah, it's all the switch statement. Maybe open safe field on typing is what added that. Although that's specifically case. Okay, that was what did key handled by case. Key not handled by case, open safe field on typing. So then what did we do in things like, that was a key for player search. Player track key. Well, that is in key down. That's doing some search specific stuff. Oh, no, that's not directly the key handling. Okay, so it's just a check key handled by keybind, which might have come along in interaction keys. So maybe this whole thing just has to get moved up a lot. Interaction keys enabled. Key handled by keybind. So that was specifically for that. It is handled by some keybind. So we kind of have to be at least above that. Hopefully nothing else is interacting too much with camera. I don't think there's anything else that does a lot of interaction with camera. So we need to be at least above interaction keys. Or it has to add the appropriate flags to that. Which patches to the top even if applied. So it looks like we have to go to the top and then push it back down, which is rather unfortunate. Unless you can sync everything else. It does say patches. Although managing conflicts, if we're trying to move multiples at once, just sounds ugly. Okay. Oh, we go to a point and then float it there. Well, okay. Unless it moved it but didn't push it. Nope. Where are we at? Got to auto run. Oh, it's just the settings. Right, they both added stuff in the same place. And technically we're having trouble. No, we're on auto run. Wait, so we've pushed auto run. We're on auto run. Which is completely blank. Oh, right. Auto run used to have both of these things. So auto run should be this. We go to camera control and it conflicts the same spot, probably. Yeah. Let's see, it was below it before, so I guess we want to do that. Unfortunately, we may have this problem everywhere you get a setting update. All right, to do the thing we want to do, we have to go to direction keys, and maybe we'll get some. Yep, okay, so those patches are all fine. Okay, once we got past the local setting update, it's good. Maybe until we do some other stuff. Key handled by case. So it was C. Well, it's not going to be handled by case anymore. Oh, this is a hold, so we're going to have to do both ends of it. So much inline code. All right, safe field is focused. Oh, I have not done the other things yet, so this may create. Let's key handled by case. I need. Not enter equal to run. Okay, then turn it into false. Key not handled by case. Key handled by keybind. What did I do? Okay, it goes down here. So we do this. We don't check whether it got handled here, but that's probably fine. In ASCII equals a camera key. Have we eliminated MCDIS focus return? Yes. And key handled by keybind. All right, and then we've got to deal with key up, which we've not had any hold-based keys in here before. All right, that should take care of those constants. I guess the only thing with the default is, would you ever have a dummy value for it not being set? 'Cause I don't currently have like a camera control enabled feature flag. It's pretty much just, is that thing set? Well, I guess we could check for not equal 0. Because that would be a truthy value. Yeah, if you really turn down the hunger here, then game seems to crash. Okay, or the server seems to crash. All right, we don't have a setting now. We have not enabled screen edge push. Okay, that is there. It has those limits. And then this is actually going to be a new setting. Okay, and that doesn't anything with screen push, and this still has pretty much full limits. I guess I didn't really check if we did have both of them on. Okay, camera seems to work fine in both cases. So one of the things we want to adjust is game source default setting values. All right, set that to 0. All right, we're at camera control. Modified, modified. Yeah, I might want to clean up my testing stuff. Because that might be convenient to game source at times. However, in order to ship this, well, I might have to kind of ship it because the build system is based on the published stuff. Well, no, we update the build system because adding that extra stuff won't really hurt the current version. Settings, keys, merge with Edge, yes. And we have to do README updates when we get to publishing it. All right, let me see what the make sure I'm reasonably synced on my other copy, and then we'll see how well Docker runs on WSL. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have to use a WSL shell to get decent terminal behavior. All right, so documents, I think this was originally for like all the remote repositories, but it is kind of in stuff that we have to like back up and things. Uh, no. Now, I was doing shell scripts for this. So we've got this shell. There's also the Windows for Linux thing. I don't know if it'll make any big difference which we use. I guess to start off with, let's do build server, because that might be handy to have locally. And this is where we actually get to Docker. Error during connect. Maybe we didn't start this. Not allowed to use it must be in Docker users group. Making something installed is not the same as making something useful. Oh. Didn't realize these were pinned. No wonder they're sticking around. It's like, surely we've overwritten those by now. Okay, well that works. Doing connect. Does not have troubleshooting per se, though. Cell integration, you can configure. All right, so this is not actually useful. I probably haven't bothered to restart. But it's entirely possible that I haven't. Okay. I have not restarted since doing it, because I didn't want to do it during a stream. I mean, I think I restarted for something, but I mean, it's been a few days. So I don't remember if I did it after that one or if it was something else. A lot does not take immediate effect. I might have to like re-log in after that, at least, which is still going to be... Oh. And this doesn't have any... Scroll back. Net local group. Was this just by typed local group? Yeah, local group is a command. Docker users is a group. Okay. Yep. Well, I guess at that point we should just restart for good measure. It's either that or I see if the remote camera is working to work on the build updates on the other computer. Because I don't know that I've actually tested the... I forget the name of it. The network display sharing since I did this setup. Well, it'd be kind of nice to actually have these on the same computer. If we can actually get useful terminals out of it. Which, unfortunately, means shutting everything down. So, I'll be back in a minute or so. Let's do...